right, everybody, we're back from Milwaukee, and we're just gonna do this on camera, and not do I'm not scripting anything. I'm not doing a fancy script. We're just gonna talk off the cuff about how everything at Milwaukee went, because I think there was a lot of really positive things to say about the event. There was some kind of neutral things to say that they're more like, this could be improved, and I think a lot of it has to do with communication, but we'll get to that. And then there were some negative things to say, but I am going to front load all of this with the positivity, and then we will get into the constructive criticism, because I think that's really what I want this to be. I don't want this to be like a beating up of Ravensburger or Pastimes or anything, because I think there were a lot of things that went really right at this event, but there were also some things that I think could just be improved, just overall, because yeah, and we'll get into them, but I want to be as constructive and as level-headed about all of this as possible, because as someone who works in the game industry and someone who knows people that actually run events to this degree or even greater, with greater attendance, I understand how hard this is to run these in general, to even get these off the ground. It is an incredible undertaking, and so many things go wrong just behind the scenes, and I get it, right? I want to just say that up front. I sort of understand, how hard all of this really is, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be constructive and have critiques about how we can improve it, because, I love this game and I love this community, and I want to go to more of these, and I want them to improve. So we're going to do that. I have some notes. Some of them are my own thoughts. Actually, most of them are my own thoughts, but a lot of it is from some of my community members and from some of my locals who were there and other people that I talked to. So this is sort of a collection of all of that, but I would say most of these, a lot of people brought up things that I was already like, yeah, I wrote that down and I agree with you, right? And then some of them are just we're going to open it up for discussion. We're going to talk. And if you have thoughts in the comments, if you were there and you have thoughts about how this was all run, please leave a comment in the description about your experience, but please keep it civil. I want Ravensburger and Pastimes to see stuff like this and see that it's constructive, and know that, from the bottom of our hearts, and at least I can speak for myself, from the bottom of my heart, my only intention is just to help this get better. I have no interest in naming people or besmirching how things went, because again, I do think a lot of things went pretty right and some things not so great. So we'll start all positive right now. I will say this right off the bat. I know people were talking about Milwaukee and it's kind of a weird place to go and how the cities weren't that exciting, and I have to be honest, I was maybe a little skeptical, but I actually really enjoyed Milwaukee as a city. I loved a lot about it. I won't go too in detail because it's not super Lorcana based, but what I would say is I would urge people, I get it. I've never been to Seattle. I wanted an excuse to go to Seattle. I've never been to New York. I wanted an excuse to go to New York. But Milwaukee is a place I never would have gone otherwise if there had not been Lorcana there, honestly. And I had a great time, and I loved the things I saw and the food I ate and the drinks I had and the company I was with. Everybody was really nice. And it was I was honestly one of my favorite cities I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot. So I would urge people, if you're going to go to one of these DLCs and you're not maybe super excited about the city, maybe try and push that part of yourself down a little bit and give it a chance, because I took an extra day and explored Milwaukee, and it was great, and I had a great time. Loved the city. I would absolutely go back. Unfortunately I can't make it to Virginia, but I'm going to try really hard to be in Indianapolis in the middle of next year. And again, Indianapolis, not a place I really ever would have gone otherwise, right? I don't really have any reason to go. No offense, just not on my bucket list of cities to go to, right? But now after this, I'm actually kind of excited. What cool stuff can I find in Indianapolis to do? What cool museums and things can I find? So Yeah, love Milwaukee. A little bit about the event. The staff were really great. I generally had no issues with anyone. I understand that they were just trying to do their job, but everybody was very nice. They were very helpful if you had questions, if you needed to know where to go. I understand that the lines, and we'll get into that a little, the lines got a little crazy near the end, but they were doing their best, and I think a lot of it stems from a singular issue that we're going to talk about when we get to the negative stuff, but everyone was really nice, and that includes the community. Outside of this one incident with a friend of mine and their opponent that I'm not going to get into because their opponent was incredibly rude to my friend, but that's a whole story that I'm just not going to belabor here. Personally, I didn't have any real negative problems with anyone. Everyone was very nice. We were all having a good time other than, you know, losing a lot. I did not do super well in the main event, but or in Infinity, but you know, it's fine. It's a card game. It's a cardboard with Disney characters on it, so you got to kind of lighten up a little bit. But yeah, another thing, the venue was actually pretty great. The actual venue staff were really nice. The bathrooms were fairly clean, and that's really difficult to do when you're at an event with 3,000 people, right? And there aren't that many bathrooms. Like, I think there was maybe 4 or 5 total in the part of the building we were in. And they were all pretty clean. There was water bottle refill stations, which is a gigantic plus. I drink a lot of water, and I'm always like, I don't want to spend like $5 on water constantly, especially when I'm drinking like 100 ounces a day, basically. So having like water bottle refill stations was incredibly nice. Surprisingly, I've been to a lot of conventions. The food was good. I only ate once, just when I was waiting for someone. I had like a whole hour and a half to kill, and I was really hungry. I ate just like fries and chicken, you know, super simple while I was waiting for them. And actually, the food was good. I was shocked that the food was decent, because convention food usually gets a bad rap, because honestly, deservedly so. It's not usually very good. But the food at the Baird Center in Milwaukee, shout out to you guys. The food was actually pretty good. I would say another thing I didn't hear a lot of people talk about, we had pretty adequate space when we were sitting down to play in like the main event. If you were a disabled player, I actually talked to a disabled player, but I cannot remember her name, and I'm sorry, but it's fine, who got fixed seating, and they were able to accommodate that and did everything, and it worked flawlessly, and it was great. So I'm happy that staff was able to like accommodate people that needed fixed seating and all that. And the shocker of all shockers all weekend is that Ravensburger Playhub managed to actually stay up. Now, I will say it was very slow and not loading for a lot of people, but that is different from it going down, right? I had instances where, you know, they would do the big announcement and they would say that the round pairings were up, and you'd try to load it and it wouldn't load, but it's because everyone was trying to load their round pairings. But thankfully, the staff printed out it on paper, and so you could walk up, take a picture really quick on your phone, and then you could just walk away, right? And that was really nice. It made stuff a lot easier, and I'm shocked that RPH stayed up. I have nothing against RPH, but like, you know, there have been moments in the past where it doesn't work, right? So, I mean, that's it for a lot of my positive stuff. I mean, the event overall, I would say the staff and everything ran it really well, and a lot of things went right. Before I get into neutral stuff, I guess I'll just talk about how I did. I did not do super well in the event. I went 3-4 in the main event on Saturday before I dropped, and then on Sunday I was playing Infinity, and not doing great. Note to self for future, and note to everyone, don't build your deck in like 15 minutes and think it'll be fine. It was not fine. I was playing Blue Steel in Infinity, and it was not doing great. So that kind of soured me a little bit. But main event was really hard. It came down to like micro mistakes sometimes, whether or not you were winning games, at least in my experience. There were 2 games where I know distinctly that a thing that I did or did not do basically lost me the game. So that was kind of hard, and by the 6th round, I just wanted my Mulan, and I just wanted it to be over, to be fair, but it was just because I wasn't playing well. It's not because, you know, it was bad or anything, but I managed to get the Mulan barely. I went 3 and 4, and after I got it, I just felt this kind of sense of relief. I was like, oh, thank God. I don't have to play my final round, right? And I ended up doing something called an ink sprint, which I actually, this is the first time I think they've done this. I don't remember this being at like the LCQ last year, but ink sprint was really great. It was just a really quick best of 1 game. You would run up to your table, you would just roll dice, who went first, play a quick game, and then you were done. And some of those were some of my most fun games in all of Saturday was my ink sprint games, because my opponents were also sort of like over it in a way, and these were just a really good like palate cleanser to kind of remind ourselves like, yeah, I mean, we may have done really bad in the main event, but we're here to play a card game and have fun, and we had more fun and just kind of chatted and stuff. So really big fan of ink sprint. I would like to do more of those in the future. And then the other event that I played that I have really positive things to say about was on Sunday. I played trios. Shout out to my teammates Adam and Kevin, friend of the channel. We played in a trios event, which was a 3v3 where each person on each team got paired with another person on a team of 3. You played a best of 3, and whichever team won 2 games won it. I'm happy to say I got stuck with red purple, all right, and I managed to win all my games, but Adam and Kevin, dropped the ball. We only ended up going 2-1, but I will say that trios was the most fun I had the entire weekend, to be honest. It was just kind of silly, and I got to play something that like normally in a regular meta I wouldn't play in the set 9 meta. But because you had to use every color pairing, like someone had to do it. So I got stuck with Ruby Amethyst and actually had an amazing time. I actually kind of love that deck now, and I wish I had kind of just been playing it the whole time because it was fun. Like, I know it's not the most competitive, but it was way more fun than the meta decks I was playing all weekend. But now that we've done the positive stuff, we're going to go into neutral territory. This isn't necessarily a negative. Like, this isn't me complaining, but it's not necessarily positive either. This is the neutral stuff is kind of like opening a discussion or just saying, I would like to see these things sort of improved a little bit. One of the things was leading up to the event, there was some drama about outside food and drinks policy that was like really unclear. People had to actually call the center and say like, hey, am I actually allowed to bring in water and all this stuff? And they said that, yeah, it was fine. I guess they just didn't want you bringing in like 8, extra large pizzas, because they said you're not allowed to bring food and stuff for other people, was the way they kind of phrased it. So the way I was describing it to my friends and my locals who were there was, you can bring in your own snacks and water, but don't show up with like 8 Costco pizzas, right? They're gonna get mad about that, right? Which understandable. That's fine. I just wish it was a little more like clear ahead of time, because there was like a mini panic among people, like trying to figure out like, oh, they're gonna make us buy $5 water and buy the expensive convention food and stuff, and and if you have dietary restrictions, like that is bad, but it ended up being fine. But I would just say in the future, maybe be a little more clear, and maybe that was the Baird Center's fault, maybe that wasn't like Pastime's fault or anything, but it was something that happened, so I just wanted to bring it up. Another thing that I thought was kind of weird, we had security and we had security check-in. They never checked my bag once. Not that I'm like a threat or anything. I'm a very nice person, I like to think, and I have nothing like bad in my bag. But every time I would walk in, I would take my backpack off and I would get ready to open it, and the lady would just say, "Oh, you're good. Go through." And I'm like, okay. I actually should have talked to other people and saw if they had their bags checked, because it's not that I didn't see people getting their bag checked. I saw some people getting their bag checked, but I was like, why am I not getting checked and why are other people getting checked? It was not clear to me. So little weird. I would, you know, it's not like I have anything to hide in my bag. Like, that's fine if you want to check it. It's just kind of, it was a little strange. And I couldn't really figure out if, like, there were scanners that I was walking through that I didn't know about and they were clearing me, or what. I really don't know. It was just a little strange. Last thing that was, actually, this is a positive that I forgot to bring up, but the artist signings were fantastic. Loved getting to meet all the artists. But something that was neutral was, randomly, I was going on Friday. I went in to get my signatures done so that I didn't have to worry about it the whole weekend. And Raul, who did like the this champion mat you see here and the promo, which I got signed and stuff, they announced that he specifically would be doing personalizations, so writing your names on the card, but nobody else was unless you asked for it. But ahead of the event, they just said that personalizations would just be if you wanted it. Now, I can sort of understand why, and it's because, you know, a lot of the, like, he's done 2 set champs cards back to back. He's done 2 playmats back to back. So maybe they don't want, like, people reselling their Maleficent champion playmats and stuff, like, right off the bat at the event. And it makes it harder to sell when it's personalized. But it was a little weird, like, how the other artists were just signing their name. And especially when, forgive me, I cannot remember her name, but she did, Dumbo. Like, we were just getting Dumbos signed, right? And no personalization on them. So I'm sure people were selling signed Dumbos that weekend or whatever, but, little strange. It was a little inconsistent, but I mean, the fact that we got twice as many signings as before, was pretty nice, and you didn't need an appointment to get an artist signing. That was a really big positive, because whenever you had a moment, you could run up and wait in line, and the lines never got really that long. So like, the sooner you got it knocked out, you were good to go. I really love that. Do that again. That was great. The last thing I was a little neutral on were the take back rules. So right at the beginning of the main event on Saturday, they announced that Ravensburger was trying something. And they said that you could call a judge and do a take back if you made a mistake. We were all kind of like, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, normally, if I'm at locals on Tuesday, I am under the impression, like, we are playing for packs, but I'm kind of like, I don't really need the packs that bad, right? So if somebody makes a mistake and they want to take it back, normally, if no information was gained, I'm okay letting them take it back. Anything in a set champs or higher, though, I'm generally not gonna do it, because it's a competitive environment, and if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. And that goes for me too. I've made plenty of egregious mistakes at big tournaments that cost me games, and even when my opponent has said, I'll let you take it back, I'm like, nope. Like, I did it, you know. It's, I meant to ink that card and I played it, or I meant to play that card and I inked it, and that's that, you know. It just kind of is the way it is, right? Like, I want to learn from my mistakes. That being said, nobody I played with, other than one very funny interaction in trios that I won't tell the whole story of, but it was very funny. Nobody did takebacks. We were all kind of like, I felt like we all had this unwritten rule, like, well, I'm not going to do that to you. Like, I'm going to play the game and just make my mistakes if I make mistakes. And it never really came up. So if you did it, or if other people, you know, if you're at the event and did it and engaged with the take back rules, I would love to hear your feedback on this. But to me, it really felt like it did not do anything, mainly just because nobody used it, really, outside of one instance that I saw, and that was in a side event and not the main event. I feel like it was just not a thing. So will they keep it? I really don't know. That remains to be seen. All right, Let's get negative here. Again, I'm going to be as constructive as possible. I'm going to be as nice as possible. But I have quite a few negatives that I think all sort of stem from the same place. And I think I'm not alone in highlighting these like very specific problems. But there are some smaller things and some other things. But I think the main problem with the event was the prizing. The prizing was just way too difficult and price restrictive to acquire. The fact that people who signed up for the main event, we spent like $100 to come play. We spent, however much money to fly out, and then all of our money in staying there, right? And we're given a Pegasus for being there, and that's great, right? I like getting the participation promo. And then if you manage to get 3 wins, which I did, but I know a lot of people, and I talked to many people who didn't, and they felt really awful about that. And I'm not saying that the 3 wins thing shouldn't go away, but I have some suggestions when we get there later about how to maybe improve the feelings around that. But the fact that we weren't getting any like tickets for playing in the main event was really bad. Now they did let us get 1,200 tickets instead of booster packs, and literally everyone took it. Like, I don't think there was a single, there may have been a random person who did, but no one I know took the packs. We all took the tickets. But the fact that you could go 5 and 3 and someone could go 1 and 7 and you both got the exact same amount of tickets is just insanity. I really think that we should be getting tickets for entering, and then for every win, which is how the side events were working, for every win you got additional tickets on like some kind of scale. Like, every win that I get in the main event should net me tickets, because then it incentivizes me to keep playing, because a lot of people who got like 3-0 dropped in round 4 because they were like, I'm not going to make day 2. I know it. And the fact that I've just 3-0'd and stuff and got my Mulan is great. But now they were basically dropping and then just going to do side events and pack rush to try and get tickets so they could get prizes. And that shouldn't really be what people are doing. I feel like you shouldn't be incentivizing people to actually play in the main event and stick it out, right? When we get through all this, I have some suggestions for maybe ways that can happen, but that to me was a huge negative. There's just not enough tickets for people playing in the main event. You were creating a situation where, like, if you weren't doing amazing, like if you weren't gonna make day 2, you were getting your Mulan and getting out. Like, in some sense, it was sort of better to be an attendee than it was to be a competitor, because an attendee could just play side events and get rewarded the whole weekend, and they could probably walk away with a bunch of stuff. And granted, you could get a Mulan if you were able to do it, and you got the Pegasus. And then if you signed up for the Infinity event on Sunday, you got a Mulan just for free, and then tickets per win, right? But yeah, I think it's gotta be a little better, and we'll get to the suggestions in a bit. On top of that, prizes were just way too expensive. So I think either tickets need to be like doubled in some instances, or we need to lower the cost of items. I played in the main event, Infinity, Ink Rush, multiple pack rushes, and then I played in the Trios event, and that was literally my entire weekend. I had no downtime. All I did was play Lorcana from Saturday morning to Sunday evening, basically. When I wasn't sleeping, I was at the event playing Lorcana or waiting in line for stuff. I barely managed to get about 9,000 tickets. So I got an Elsa promo and a pin. So my total prizing for the event ended up being 2 Mulans, an Elsa, the Elsa pin, and then a Pegasus. And 2 of those promos were for participating in events, and the rest were I earned or bought, right? And it was really hard. And then, people were cashing out. People who made day 2 were not even given enough tickets to buy a playmat, which is crazy. And another thing too that really irked me a little bit was like, you'd see like some of the lower level promos, they'd be like 2,500 tickets. You go, okay, great. And then you look at some of the side events and it would say, okay, it's 3 rounds. If you go 3-0, you get 2,400 tickets. So I get a perfect score in a side event, and I'm 100 tickets short from getting like, a non-foil Dragonfire. It's like, come on, man. Like that, I went 3-0. I should get something, like something cool, and you can get a pin. But I think most people, while some of them want pins, I'm not a pin person. I just got the pin because I could afford it. We want the cards. Like, it's a card game. It's so different from when I went to LCQ, and when you just signed up for a side event, you got a promo. So I walked away from the LCQ with 6 Cuscos and 3 Baymax, and that felt awesome. It's not like these cards cost a lot of money to print. Like each individual Mulan they're handing you maybe costs $0.25 in the grand scheme of things to print, and they're giving them away for a $75 side event. We need more. Like, I feel like we should be rewarding more people, and I'm someone who's like kind of a mid player, right? And I only walked away with 4 promos the whole weekend from playing all day for 2 days straight. Like that hurts, man. It was rough. On top of the prizes being too expensive, the events were really expensive. If you paid for an event and you got no wins, you got 400 tickets, which is essentially 1 booster pack. And that's just, man, that really hurts. Like, I really want to, like, I feel like, and I understand they don't want people to have tons of promos and like sell them and stuff. I get it. I'm sympathetic to that. But I'm also like, are you worried about the people who came here being too happy, right? Like, they came here to earn cards, like Disney cards, and the vast majority of them are not making day 2. And that's not like a slight on anyone. That's just statistically what's going to happen, right? Like, I think only about 10% of the people that played in the main event on Saturday played in the main event on Sunday. The events were kind of expensive, and getting no refund for an event that you may have missed on accident. I know I, for one, accidentally signed up for an event that I didn't realize I couldn't make, forgot about it, and then saw it on my Ravensburger Play Hub 2 hours after it had already occurred. And I got no refund. I got no tickets for that. I was just out the $25 basically for what I spent. That felt really bad. I feel like there's gotta be a better way. I don't really have a solution for that, but yeah. No Friday events was also another big, like, that hurt, because then you were jamming so much of your game time into Saturday and Sunday that you had like no time to rest. I'm not the only one, I take ADD meds, and like sometimes I miss lunch. There are other people with me who do not take ADD meds, who just did not eat lunch because they couldn't, because they were just like, I have to keep playing in events. I don't have time. Like, if I want to get enough tickets, I gotta play in events. And obviously, like, take care of yourself and stuff, or like bring snacks, but like, if people are like that devoted to trying to get the prizes, like if the prizes were more readily available, like if I had walked away with 8 promos from the weekend instead of 4, maybe other people would have done the same, and then maybe they would have, had more time to just be like, I don't need to play in that side event at 1 p.m. on Sunday. I'll just go have lunch, because I'm like winding down or something, right? I feel like there's a solution in there somewhere, and I feel like a lot of it is just gonna be from, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be more events, and you've got to do something to make it feel more rewarding, but not just for like day 2 people, right? Because they're already being rewarded a lot. They're getting special promos that no one else gets. They're getting special playmats no one else gets, and that's great. But you need to also cater to the casual people, because like part of what makes this game so special is that we have such a vast casual audience.
And if you're watching this, you're probably not one of those people, but like there are people that just show up for like set champs and stuff and play the game casually, and they deserve stuff too. You know, they want cool Disney stuff too. It shouldn't just be for all the grinders and stuff that play this game 8 hours a day. Like, I think everyone deserves to get cool stuff, and that's why they come to these events, is to have fun and get cool stuff. And it seemed like a lot of the prizing was keeping people from not only getting cool stuff, but actually having fun as a result, right? Because, you know, if you lose all your games and at the end you're just like, well, I still got I got another Pegasus, so now I have 2. You'd feel, well, a lot better about that, right? You'd be like, oh yeah, it's fine, whatever, I'm just having fun. So something to think about. Another thing is that if there were any updates on the event or prizing or anything like that, it was all going through Pastime's Discord channel, which means that like hardly anyone really saw them. The only reason I heard about some of the updates to things was because I had friends who were on the Pastimes Discord and saying, oh, did you see that they updated this or they changed this like in the middle of the thing? So it was really difficult. Like, I think you need to not only be blasting out this information on that channel, you need to be putting it on Twitter, Instagram, like the official Disney Lorcana server, like all these places, so that you actually hit people where they're, you know, gonna see it. So that was something maybe that can be improved. The other thing, I guess we're going back to prizing. Honestly, like if you weren't doing good in any events, my friend and I did the math, and your best solution was to play Pack Rush. The problem, though, was that Pack Rush was expensive. It was $20 to play Pack Rush, so $20 for 2 booster packs for you. And this isn't for 2 people. You're paying $20 just for you. If you and your friend are doing it, or if you're a couple, that's $40, right? Because you're both paying. And the winner got 800 tickets, and the loser was supposed to get 600 or 400, right? But the thing that, you know, most people were doing, myself included, was just I paired up with a friend and would say, hey, we're gonna go and we're just gonna split the tickets. So we would pay, they'd sit us down, we'd sit for a second, put our booster packs in our bag, we would trade the tickets back and forth like we were gonna, and then we'd just get in line again. Because we discovered that if you spent $240 of Pack Rush, you would get about a box worth of cards, and you could buy either an Elsa or a Simba, and that's all you got. That just feels rough. Like, I feel like, and what made it worse was people started to realize this as the event went on. So by the end of the day, Sunday, oh my God, Pack Rush line was insane. You were waiting probably 30, 45 minutes just to sit down and not play. You were essentially just paying to get tickets. So anybody who was there and just paying for Pack Rush all weekend, arguably probably could have got more promos than people that were playing out their events, which is nuts. And that there's got to be a better way for this, right? Like, I know at the LCQ they gave you tickets, so like if you played an event, you either got like a ticket to do a Pack Rush, and that was what you were getting, was Pack Rush, but you would also get a promo for doing Pack Rush. Like, yeah, I guess this leads right into suggestions, because I have some suggestions for prizing to make it better. One way you can do it is to just make the promos either cheaper or to like double the ticket amount, but I think there are other ways that this can work. So I think giving one promo for entering like the main event is great. We keep doing that, right? One promo for getting 3 wins. Like, I wanted to say 3 wins was not that hard, but I barely got it. So apparently it's very difficult. But one promo for 3 wins. I think that's great. It does make people feel kind of bad, but I do think I have a solution to make this feel better. Because people keep dropping so much, why not give them a promo for actually playing out all 8 rounds? So like, let's say you enter, you get a Pegasus, you get the Mulan for getting 3 wins, and then if you actually stick it out and play all 8 rounds, even if you lose all 8 of your rounds. Give a promo for actually staying, because that just doesn't happen. Like, people do not stay playing, and like, we're there to play the game. Like, we should be incentivizing each other to play the game, even, you know, whether good or bad, right? I think that's a really good, and you can do this in side events too. Like, instead of saying, like, let's say you do an ink sprint, and the entry is like a Pegasus promo, right? It's only 3 rounds. By the end of your 3rd round, like, let's say you get like a ticket for Pack Rush for playing all your rounds. So then even if you lose and you only get 1 pack, you still get 2 other packs from Pack Rush or something, right? You can scale it depending on the event. If it's more competitive, you can give a promo for staying the whole time, or you can give something else. Like, I think that is a really good path to like keeping people, and I like keeping people just playing in their events, like signing up for an event that they intend to see through. You know, if you don't want people signing up for a bunch of things, not giving them refunds is not the way. Like, telling them what they can't do is not good. Incentivizing them to do the opposite, right, is what you want to do. And I think if you give them tickets for staying, or you give them a promo for staying the whole time, I think what you do instead is you just incentivize people to stick with their events and play them, instead of trying to like leave for greener pastures, right? Or just trying to go to a different event and trying to farm stuff, because they're already getting rewarded for this stuff, right? It seems like a no-brainer. I don't know. Seems like a thing that they should be doing. And I think like the LCQ, they should be giving promo prizes for like participation in side events. Like, you would sign up for a side event and you would get like a Cusco just for playing in it. And that's great. It felt good, because then you were walking away. Like, I'm pretty sure I walked away with like 10 promos by the end of LCQ, which was also, I believe, only like 2 days. It may have been, actually, no, it was 3 days. It was 3 days. But still, walking away with like almost 10 promos is awesome. I had a great time at LCQ, even though I lost in the 2nd round, right? But like, I came to this one and I have like my rewards have been cut in half, and I did way more work. You know, I had to hustle, and I barely got enough tickets to get 2 prizes. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, I think those are some good suggestions. I think there's got to be a better way to prize people out too. Like, on Sunday, the last few hours were just people in a gigantic line trying to get their tickets. They had judges like doing line duty, and man, that is not what the judges are there for, you know. The judges are there for the game. They're not there to police lines and stuff. But which, I mean, thank you to all the judges, by the way, just full stop. But I felt for them, because I could see in their eyes like they were just defeated, because it was such a long weekend. And then they're like trying to just like corral all these people so that they can get prized out, and that then have to go wait in a different line to go to the prize wall and get their prizes. And it was just a lot, right? Whereas I feel like if you've got people earning their stuff the whole weekend and then going to the prize wall like throughout the weekend because, I got enough tickets for a different promo, I can go do that, I think you just sort of avoid a lot of that. But yeah, my voice is going because I've been talking for like 43 minutes straight. But yeah, that's everything. I mean, I still think that I had a good time in Milwaukee, but just the vibe from everyone, we all felt so stressed. Like, Friday, I had a ton of fun just like going around Milwaukee, getting my artist signatures, like going to pubs and stuff. Had a great time. Saturday and Sunday was such a slog. And then when the event was over, I was just like back to being in tourist mode and kind of traveling around. And it was like, oh, this is nice again. I'm having a good time. So I think that, yeah, I think after thinking about it for days, I think that prizing is really the main culprit here. I really think prizing needs to be looked at. And I'm not the only one who has said this. And I know that Ravensburger knows that this is an issue, because it was also an issue at the last DLC. Prizing was a big problem. So I'm really hoping that by the time Indianapolis rolls around, that like we have kind of sorted all of this out. But I really think you got to just like you got to just double the amount. Like, you got to make this more rewarding for people who also are pretty good at the game or really good at the game, but you also got to make it more rewarding for the people that are just showing up to have a good time, who are not going to make day 2, because, you know, at the end of the day, those are the people like keeping this game alive and keeping the community alive, are the people that are just there to play and have fun and have like a sense of community, right? And they want to feel like they're having fun and getting good stuff, or cool stuff, right? That they wouldn't get normally. I think there's a way. And I think that you guys can figure it out. I gave suggestions. I don't know if they're the smartest suggestions, but I definitely think that, you know, the more that we give constructive feedback in a nice way, in a calm way, you know, not in an antagonistic and like pointing fingers way, I think we can get the change that we want to see, right? But you know, congrats to everybody that played and made it. Thank you to the judges. Thanks to everybody I interacted with. You were all lovely. And yeah, hopefully Indianapolis is good, and hopefully Ravensburger sees this, or someone sees this and passes it along. And that everybody else has like good suggestions for the future. But that's gonna be it from me. Bye. Love you. Was a little hard, but yeah, my voice is going because I've been talking for like 43 minutes straight. But yeah, that's everything. I mean, I still think that I had a good time in Milwaukee, but just the vibe from everyone, we all felt so stressed. Like Friday, I had a ton of fun just like going around Milwaukee, getting my artist signatures, like going to pubs and stuff. Had a great time. Saturday and Sunday was such a slog. And then when the event was over, I was just like back to being in tourist mode and kind of traveling around. And it was like, oh, this is nice again. I'm having a good time. So I think that, yeah, I think after thinking about it for days, I think that prizing is really the main culprit here. I really think prizing needs to be looked at. And I'm not the only one who has said this. And I know that Ravensburger knows that this is an issue, because it was also an issue at the last DLC. Prizing was a big problem. So I think there's a way, and I think that you guys can figure it out. I gave suggestions. I don't know if they're the smartest suggestions, but I definitely think that, you know, the more that we give constructive feedback in a nice way, in a calm way, you know, not in an antagonistic and like pointing fingers way, I think we can get the change that we want to see, right? But, you know, congrats to everybody that played and made it. Thank you to the judges. Thanks to everybody I interacted with. You were all lovely. And yeah, hopefully Indianapolis is good, and hopefully Ravensburger sees this, or someone sees this and passes it along. And that everybody else has like good suggestions for the future. But that's gonna be it from me. Bye. Love you.